Hello, Steve Mills here, and welcome to 7 Steps to Get Your Startup Business to £100,000 per year. This webinar is also appropriate for anybody who wants to get their established SME, small to medium enterprise, up to £100,000 per month. So this is all about getting the best out of all you've got. Who's it for? Well, like I say, it's for anybody who's not happy with where they are right now. Perhaps you're someone who's making a living from a business but not really got it to the level that you want. Maybe you're looking at starting a business, or perhaps you're someone who's maybe exchanging time for money and really want to take their business to the next level. Either way, the next 45 minutes is all about growing your business, how to generate a consistent flow of high-ticket clients on demand with predictability month after month, how to do that. So how to create more leads. Leads are the key, I believe, to the success of a business, and this webinar is all about how to get more leads and how to convert more of those leads into sales and ultimately into profit. It's also about how to get out of spending all your time doing the work of the business, because that's a real quandary for so many businesses. They say, well, I've not really got time to do marketing, Steve, because I'm out there, making it, shipping it, selling it, and so on and so forth. So in this next 45 minutes, we're going to discuss that. So basically, the webinar is all you need to know so that you can build a business from startup to 100K per year, and from being an established SME who's maybe turning over 100, 200,000, something like that, to get you to the next level. In other words, turning over 100,000 per month, or 1.2 million a year, to put it another way. And how we're going to do that? Well, we're going to do it using predictable, repeatable systems instead of guesswork, instead of spending and wasting a load of money on marketing that may or may not work. A couple of house rules just before we start. I want to be really clear. This is not about a get-rich-quick scheme. This is about a get-rich with hard work scheme. It's nothing to do with clicking a button and making money. It's not about how to con somebody or how to fake being an expert to get clients. If you're going to be successful, you've got to be good at what you do, because no form of marketing or sales system is going to help, because as soon as you win customers, you're going to lose them out the back door. And so fundamentally, this program is only for people who are good at what they do. So a couple of other things. Neither my results or the results my clients get are typical. We do very, very well, and we've got clients who do very, very well. I'm going to show you a couple of them in a minute. But, I want to be really clear and honest about this. Not all of them do that. I get people coming along to my programs and my webinars, and they work with me as mentoring clients, and they don't get the results that some people get. And why is that? Well, often it's because they fail to implement. They come along and they say, oh, it's been a great day, Steve. I've learnt loads of stuff. And when I phone them up 3 weeks later to find out how they're progressing, they tell me, well, I've not really done anything. There's no wonder they're not achieving the level of success that they might be without taking action. Learning new things is not going to help until and unless you implement. And if you fail to implement, no matter how much you've learned, it ain't going to work for you. So does that make sense? I really hope it does. I'm very practical here. I really believe in the simple stuff that works and not the complicated stuff that doesn't. If you take action, you follow a system, do the same things, you get the same results as other successful people. And if you don't, you don't. It's as simple as that. So, does this sound like you? Let me ask you this. Some months you know the money pours in, you do really really well, and but you can't seem to maintain it. You know, you have ups and downs. You know, maybe you're going through a quiet time and you think, right, okay, must get out there, must get marketing, and so you do some marketing, you get some business in, and then you get really busy, and all of a sudden, you know, you're not doing any marketing, and then a few months later income starts to fall again. You know, and it's just a recipe for disaster, really. And you know, it's little worry and little wonder, really, why businesses go bust. You know, over 90% I hear right now go bust within 5 years, and that's an alarming statistic. And something that, you know, part of my mission, my aim in life, is to try to reduce that, certainly with my clients and as many people as I can. So I don't know whether that sounds like you. Do you see other people in your industry doing really well? You know, perhaps they're making loads of money and just, you know, feel frustrated about, you know, why am I not at that level? You know, perhaps you're better than they are at actually doing the work. You know, if you're a landscape gardener, you're perhaps the best landscape gardener in your area, but you're not making the money that somebody who's nowhere near as knowledgeable, as hardworking, or as talented as you are. And that often, you know, creates burnout in yourself and a feeling of frustration in probably yourself and the people who work for you. Do you feel like online marketing is a good thing for you to be doing, but you don't really seem to have worked it out yet? You know, you've either not got the time to do it, you've not got the time to learn it, and probably you don't understand it. And if that's you, you know, rest assured that you're not alone. That's the case with most business owners. And so the unique opportunity that you've got today is to take the first step down that road that leads to being really, really effective online with your marketing. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So if you feel like every new client you get brings in more overhead, more complexity, more headache, and you're just feeling frustrated, then you really are in the right place. Do you feel like there's an invisible ceiling right now in your business, you know, where you just can't get it above that sort of level and you know, get over whatever it is? You know, perhaps you're a startup and you've maybe been running for 6 months or so and you're turning over 20, 30, 40, perhaps even 50,000, but the thought of getting, you know, to 100 grand just feels a long way away. Or perhaps you're an established business and, you know, you're turning over 2, 3, 4, 500,000, and reaching that next hurdle, that £1,000,000, getting into a 7-figure business, is a real challenge, and you just don't feel able to do that. Well, again, if you are, then you're in the right place. The real problem, I believe, is probably you're stuck in what I call the old model. And the old model is around people who are highly motivated and really want to move forward, but they don't really understand modern day marketing techniques. And so they market themselves in what I call an average way. You know, they're pretty much doing the same as everybody else. They're pottering around on social media. They've got a website, but they don't really optimize it, and often don't win any business, and use the excuse that, you know what, my website's just a brochure site. We don't really try to win business on it. Or they've tried, you know, things like email marketing, and that didn't work for them. And they've maybe spent a little bit of money on Facebook ads or pay-per-click advertising, but once again, it's not really worked. And so they sort of are at a level, but they're not really at the level that they could be at using the new model, which I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes. So when you move to the new model, let's have a look. Once you move to the new model, you'll have a complete control over who you work with, how you work, and the prices you can command. You'll be able to generate leads on demand and with predictability month after month, with an exact idea of how much it's costing you to get a new client and in what time period. Your business will become much more simple and significantly more profitable with less moving parts and less overheads. The invisible ceiling on your income will virtually disappear, and you'll be able to blast right through it without doing more stuff, without working harder. You'll finally have a proven, repeatable business model that can make you over the £100,000 per year or the £100,000 per month model. And doing all this while tapping back into the joy that you had when you first got into business. I see so many people who are, started off with great ideas. They were going to grow their business. Things were going to be great. And then they just, over time, it just wears them down and, becomes this all-consuming business. And I always remember a very good friend of mine telling me that when I started my business, which is over 20 years ago now, he said, the great news is, Steve, you only have to work half a day. And he said, the even better news is you get to pick, how and when those 12 hours are, and how true is that? So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I spent 25 years and over £250,000 and over 10,000 hours developing a consultancy service that I call Results Accelerator. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that at the end. I started my consulting career when I retired as a professional sportsman at around about the age of 30. And I used to play many years ago the sport of table tennis, and I played it at international level. And when you play any sport at that sort of level, you get very, very focused on how do I get more? How can I improve? What can I do to get myself and my business to the next level? And that's really what I spend my time focusing on. I recently moved to Portsmouth and I now spend my time helping startup clients, as this webinar is all about, getting to 100k and established SMEs getting to 100k per month. I do this by helping them to set up inbound marketing systems that delivers clients every day with predictability. Can't say it. Okay, there we go. I'm not just one of those, guru type people. That's not me. I'm just a Yorkshireman who likes to say and tell people exactly what he thinks. And if you work with me, there will be no holes barred. I will do whatever I can to make sure that you grow your business and you take action and you make significant improvements. So let's have a look at some of the improvements that I've helped people make. Chris Monk from Cascade Events. You can see there, you don't even need to read that out. Went from 290,000 to 492,000 in 12 months. Now that's just over 200,000 increase in income in 12 months. That's not a bad start, is it? Let's look at a couple of others. Tim Solway. Tim and I have become really good friends. He approached me saying, look, business is really bad. I'm in the printing industry. Printers are going bust left, right and center. Things are really, really tough. And I told him that I'd help him turn his business round and increase it and double it within 12 months. He burst out laughing. He literally did in that first meeting. But he went on to do it in 9 months and not 12 and made £8,000 worth of additional business in the first day working with me. Again, not a bad start. Kevin Carver ran Kennet Valley, was turning over 800,000. I helped him go to £2 million in 18 months. What a fantastic business Kevin ran. And certainly part of his success was due to his time working with me. A little while ago, I was interviewed by Anne Diamond on the BBC, and Anne asked me how his background had affected sport, and I told her I believe that because I was good at sport, it's transferred that attitude over to business, and in sport you've got to get the very best out of each and every element of your game, and so is the case in business. And that's how I answered Anne, and that's my belief. She also asked, how is it that 80% of all startups cease trading within 5 years? I just mentioned that's actually gone up now. Clearly there are many reasons, but one of the big ones, I think, is lack of sales. If you're not selling enough, then, you're not going to do very well. If you could increase sales, do you think all the other problems in your business potentially could go away? You've not got time to do things. Well, you get more sales, you can hire more people to do things. You've got HR problems. Well, you can hire a HR people to come in and sort those problems out for you. You got finance problems. Start selling. You sell enough, you can sell your way out of those problems. She also wanted to know what I thought were the secrets of my success, and that was a difficult one, and I thought about it long and hard, and I think it comes down to I've always believed when I played table tennis, I thought to myself, who's the best players around? Who can I go and practice with? How can I spend time with real experts in what I do? And I lived in Sheffield, and the players in Sheffield were good standard players, but I was pretty much the best one in the area. And so I decided to travel over to Manchester virtually every day to go and practice with some of the best players in England. And that's what I did. I spent time round the best. And I've done that in business. I spend my time going and learning from the world's leading experts in business. People like Jay Abraham and so on and so forth. And I learn from them. And I pass that learning and that knowledge on to my small business clients. And lastly, Anne asked me what I thought was the secret of business success. Now, I put it like this. I think it's a 5-step thing. 5 keys to being successful in business. Number 1 is, in business, if you want to be successful, you've got to know what success looks like. What is success? Is it 1 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 100 million? What does success look like for you as far as business is concerned? So we need to know specifically the amount, and we need to know specifically when are you going to get that amount. So if my goal was to turn over 10 million inside 5 years, okay, so I've got to grow my business from where it is now to 10 million inside 5 years. So I then need to look at plotting a plan back. So how much do I need to grow this year and next year and the year after, and so on and so forth. So we need to know that. That's step 1. Step 2 is we've got to take action. There's very little point, as I've already said, having this plan in place and then not doing anything. And that's what most people do. They hope one day that they'll turn over this or their business will do that. But what they're actually doing ain't working. And that's step 3. And that is, note whether what you're doing is working or not. If in your plan you need to get, 5 new customers a week, your 5-year plan involves getting 5 new customers a week, and you've been going in that plan for a month and you've only got 2 new customers instead of 20 new customers, then do you know what? The chances are you're not going to reach your goal. So you need to do the next step, which is change your approach. Okay, so if it's not working, change your approach. I think it was Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. So change your approach. How often would you change it? You change it until you get what you want. So you change it again. If you fail, you change it again. If you fail, you change it again. If you fail, you change it again. Let me ask you a question. How long would you give your average toddler to learn to ride a bike or to learn to walk? You know, how often? You know, you just tell them to keep going, keep trying, you can do it. And yet, as adults, we try Google pay-per-click advertising a couple of weeks and then shut it off because it doesn't work. It's a waste of time, and that is really not the case. So let's go through the steps. Step 1, know what we want. Step 2, we're going to take action. Step 3, we're going to measure results to see what the action we're taking is working or not. Step 4, we're going to change our approach if it's not working. Step 5, and this really is the icing on the cake, is we're going to model success. You know, I was always taught at school, if you copy somebody else, that's cheating. What a load of rubbish that was. Copy somebody. Go and do the same things, get the same results. Now, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting you copy the text from somebody's website. You know, that's illegal. You shouldn't do that. But you might want to copy, you know, the idea behind the text and the way they've written it. You know, I'm not suggesting you copy their brand and their logo, but you might copy elements of it, make it, you know, let's put it this way. You know, if I wanted a new website, you know, the first website I'd go to probably would be Apple. And I'd look at their website. You think they know anything about branding? Of course they do. They're, you know, arguably one of the, you know, certainly one of the most successful brands in the world. So I'd go to Apple and I'd look, do you know, is there anything about this website, about this brand, about this logo that I could adapt for my business? Doesn't that make sense? So go and find somebody who's already got that level of expertise, in other words, you know, and that'll save you a fortune in terms of lost time, lost effort, trial and error, getting it wrong, and get you to where you want to be successful much quicker. So I hope that was of use and interest to you. So yeah, so there we go. So that's just the start of it. In 25 years plus I've been coaching. I've helped literally thousands of people to make millions of pounds in additional extra unforeseen income and profit. And that's a big claim to make, but I'll tell you what, it is absolutely true, 100% true. So let's have a look at the model. There are 7 transformations that I need you to happen in your business if you want to go from from startup up to 100k, or if you're established and want to go from, yeah, I don't know, 200,000-300,000 to 7 figures to turn over £1 million. And here they are. So number one, and it is, you know, probably number one in every sense of the word. And that is, you've got to stop becoming a generalist, and instead you've got to define your mountain, your mountain, and own it by becoming a specialist. Yeah, you've got to become a specialist. You know, you look, I see so many businesses say, well, you know, I work with businesses. I could say, well, you know, I advise businesses. Well, do I want to work with fish and chip shops? Do I want to work with like the Vodafones, the massive companies? No, they've got their own sort of experts within their business. I work with small businesses, with startups and small businesses. So that's what I specialize in. The question is, what do you specialize in? You know, Roger Federer doesn't play tennis one week and then football the next. You know, he's a specialist in what he does. And specialists get paid more. If you're, if you said, let me put it this way: if you said, Steve, I'm a bookkeeper, would you be interested in hiring my services? I'd say, yeah, it might be good to have a bookkeeper in my business. That would save me doing the work. But if somebody else came along and said, look, Steve, I'm a bookkeeper and I specialize in working with marketing companies and have done so for the last 20 years, which one do you think I'd go with? Which one do you think I would perhaps pay more money for than the other? You're right, it's the specialist. So becoming a specialist is really, really key. You might also want to think about your marketing. You might want to become a marketing specialist. Because right now, if you're doing Facebook advertising and YouTube advertising and Twitter and LinkedIn and Google, and you're going out networking and you're going to 20 different networking events a month and you're doing this and that and the other, then the truth of the matter is you're a bit like a marketing butterfly, and you're probably not great at any of those things because you couldn't be. You can't be great at everything. You can't be great at tennis and football. You need to decide what you want to be. So, you might want to focus on Facebook advertising, or you might want to focus on LinkedIn. But my advice to you would be to become a specialist in what you do operationally, and a specialist in what you do from a marketing point of view, and get really, really, I call it outstanding, becoming outstanding by standing out. So your level of knowledge in a small area of marketing is much, much better than an average knowledge in all of it. Does that make sense? I'm hallucinating that you're saying yes, it does. So operationally, as I mentioned, are there niches? Could you have could you become the business that specializes in the law industry? You do bookkeeping for lawyers, or something like that. Could you look at all the products that you provide? Because people say to me, well, I do this, then I got 48 different products. Could you possibly get those down to like 2 or 3 that again you become really, really good at? That might be worth thinking about. So define your mountain and own it. Number 2, you must axe that's exactly what I've just mentioned. You must axe your products and service offerings and only offer your core product. Now, let me be clear. It doesn't mean you don't do all the different things that you do, although that might be a good idea. But what it really means is you're going to focus your sales and marketing on your core product or service. When Apple was failing, they had 30 days worth of cash. And, what did they do? Well, they axed 80% of their product line and returned back to what made Apple great. Yeah, are you offering products and services? In the past, I used to offer products and services that nobody'd ever bought. And I'm trying to market this and that and, and so on and so forth. And really what I need to do and what everybody needs to do is let's just focus. I love the saying focus. A very good friend of mine told me it stands for follow one course until satisfied. Yeah, focus, follow one course till satisfied. So let's follow one course till satisfied and focus our marketing efforts on 1 or 2 core products or services. And step 1 is to make them truly outstanding. So the product, what could you do with your product or your service to make it better than your competition? Now, don't give me we're really good anyway, Steve. You're not as good as you could be. Nobody is, including myself. And so you want to start focusing on what you could do better in terms of improving your product or your service, work on that, and then step 2, work on the marketing of that. and the selling of that. And that in itself could get your business to, could easily double the size of your business. Step 3, develop a proof of marketing concept. So how do you know? How do you know where to put your marketing pounds and hours? Where do you know? Well, the only way I know is to prove it. You need to prove your concept. What is your concept of marketing? Let me explain what I'm talking about. Let me take, for example, Facebook advertising, which, by the way, I'm a massive believer in. Facebook advertising. Is that going to work for you and your business? Now, the truth of the matter is, you can listen to marketing people or experts in your field and say, oh yeah, you really should be doing Facebook advertising. It's the best thing, go and spend 5-10 grand on it, it'll work. And the truth of the matter is, we don't know. Us marketing people, we really don't know. What we do know is that we believe in all sincerity, and I believe when I'm working with people and I say to them, try this, that there's a good chance that that might work if we do it really, really well. But the bottom line is most marketing doesn't work. You can do Facebook advertising really well, or you can do it really badly. And if you do it really averagely, it still won't work. It's only when you get your advertising or your marketing to a high level does it actually work. And so, the what we're saying here, this is worth testing, but not betting the ranch on. So many people bet the ranch on it. They spend thousands of pounds. I hear people saying, well, I've got a website, Steve, and it's not really winning any business, so I'm getting it redesigned. What a waste of money. You're going to have another website that just looks better and still doesn't win you any business. What we've got to do is work out how we can get more traffic to the site and how we can improve the conversion of the site. They're the only two things that matters, not how it looks. And so this is what I'm talking about here. The proof of concept. That's what we need. Peter Drucker, who, if you've not heard of Drucker, then go and Google him. World-leading expert in business. Always, one of his famous sayings is, you cannot manage what you do not measure. And do you know what? I see that so often that people don't really market themselves in a way that enables them to measure what's working and what's not. Can you tell me what your numbers are? What are your current numbers? How many leads did you get last month? Where did they come from? How many people visited your website? How many messages did you send out? How many times did you pick up the phone? What's your conversion rate of phone call to meeting? These are all key numbers, and if you don't know them, then you don't really know anything, really, to be honest. You don't know anything about your marketing, and so you're probably spending time and money on things that are not optimized. Not only that, but you're not working out step 3 there. Once you know the numbers, you need to improve them. Because if you know that, if you make 100 calls, that equals 5 meetings right now, well, what could you do to get it to 10? Or if you get 10 meetings, what could you do to get it to 15? Look at the numbers there. If you're getting 5 meetings, you manage to get it to 10, which is an extra 5. An extra 5 meetings would double the size of your business. Assuming if you have 5 meetings and you convert 2 of those into sales, and then by becoming better on the phone, you got 10 meetings and didn't even improve your conversion rates, you get 4 sales instead of the 2. Does that make sense? And that's doubled your business. And so these numbers really, really matter. And it really matters whether your business is what I call people dependent or systems dependent. Do you have systems in your business for measuring this stuff and doing these things and making sure that when you decide to go into a new marketing approach, that you have a system in place and it doesn't rely on people, on somebody, I don't know, let's say they make phone calls for you. You got this guy and he's currently converting, he's making 100 calls a day and he's getting you 10 meetings. Somebody else comes along and they say, oh yeah, I'm really good at selling. Don't worry about that, Steve. I'll do really well. And for whatever reason, they only get you 2 meetings. And that's because that business is people dependent. It's dependent on people coming in and being really good. Whereas if you had a written sales system of this is the way we do it here, then potentially you could just replicate that again and again and again and have an unlimited amount of leads, an unlimited amount of phone calls, and really an unlimited amount of people. Because you know that for every person that comes in, they're going to make 100 calls, they're going to get 10 meetings, you're going to sell to 5 of them, and that's going to pay for that 10 times over. And that's the proof of marketing that you really need. So number 4, you need to command premium prices. One of the easiest things that you can do right now is to put your prices up. If you were looking for the cheapest brain surgeon, would you really do that if you had a problem? In business, if you're counting on getting results, do you really want somebody who's not very good and who is cheap? Figure out what the result you want and then, price based on that. Why would you want to be the cheapest? Be the best. Position yourself to command premium prices. I strongly recommend, what would happen to you and your business if you put your prices up by 1%? Would anybody not buy? Probably wouldn't make any difference, would it? What about 2% or 3 or 4 or 5 or perhaps 10%? If you increase your prices by 10%, would anybody not buy? Don't know. Worth testing, and that might be something you want to do. Okay, next one. Use inbound marketing and know your numbers. So inbound marketing, most businesses start up and rely on what I call random acts of marketing or hope marketing. They try things, 1 month they'll try, a webinar, next month they try some email and so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, if you're going to be good at something, you need to keep on keeping on. You ain't going to be the world tennis champion in 6 months or in a month. Yeah, it takes time. So it takes time in marketing to get you and your business to that next level, and that's what you need to be focusing on. So think about what is going to be your specialist marketing channel. What are you going to become really, really good at? And then start down the process of working towards that. And it might take you a year, it might take you 2 years to get you and your business to a level where you're at the level you want to be, so that where every pound you spend you're getting 10 or 20 back, because that's really what you want to try to achieve. Now obviously if you've got somebody there to help and guide you, maybe someone like me, that time frame could be drastically reduced. But the point being for now is to think about that. Here's another point. One of the biggest mistakes that I see in marketing is people meet people, and they might meet somebody on LinkedIn or at a networking event or be introduced to somebody, and what do? They go straight for the jugular. I get people who I meet on LinkedIn, they send me a message, hi, this is what we do you want to buy this? And I go, do you know what? No, I don't think I do really. They have no knowledge of me. They've given me no value. It's just like going up to somebody And I use it often when I'm talking in my events and conferences and things. I say this is a little bit like going up to, if I was looking to get married, I go up to women in the street and go, "Hi, my name's Steve. Would you like to marry me? Hi, my name's Steve. Would you like to marry me? Hi, my name's Steve. Can I sell you something?" The answer is no, not right now, because you've no understanding of whether they're interested, whether they're the right market, and whether the time is right. Because I can tell you now that 97% of your market right now are not interested in what you do, and probably 98% of those have never even heard of you. And so what we've got to do here is start the process I call inbound marketing, which is about nurture, nurture, nurture. Yeah, positioning you as the go-to expert in your industry, positioning you as the key person of influence or the key business of influence, the expert in what you do. And that's really what this is all about. This is the wake-up call. It's the wake-up call because if you can't pay money to acquire a new client, then you don't really have a business. You don't. And people I see go, "Well, it's, I haven't really got a budget right now for this, Steve." I hear people talking to me a lot about, "Well, I'd really like to be on your mentoring program, Steve. I'd really like your advice, but right now, I haven't got the budget for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away, and then I'll come back in 3 months' time when I can afford it." And do you know what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens, because they can never afford it, because they don't take the required action. Now, the truth is, if you wanted to work with me, then you need to find a way. If you've not got the budget, you'll never have the budget. It's like a bit chicken and egg, If you've not got the budget right now and you just carry on doing what you're doing, you're still not going to have the budget in 3 months, in 6 months' time. And so I've always believed that there's always a way if you're truly committed. If you need to get some money from somewhere to pay for something that's going to help you to make 100 grand a year or 100 grand a month, then there's always a way. You can find a way of doing this. And that's really ultimate belief of mine. And by the way, I practice what I preach. I told you, I've spent over £250,000 on my own education, my own money, not somebody else's money. In the last month, I've spent just over £4,000, right? £4,000 educating myself, making sure I'm up to date in the latest technology and the latest ideas in growing business. And I'll do the same again next month. So, don't tell me you can't afford it. There's always a way if you're committed. So let's look at the numbers then. Let's assume, right, inbound marketing, let's assume that you're doing Facebook ads. And currently you're paying £1 every time somebody clicks on your ad and goes to your website. Now, let's say you've got a £100 budget. That's £100 a day, a week, a month, or a year. Or it shouldn't be a year, certainly. Might want to test it with a few £100 a month. But let's assume we get 10% conversion of that. So 10% of the people who see your ad click on it. Okay, 10%. So out of that 10%, sorry, I've said that slightly wrong. 10% of the people who click on it take up your offer of a free something, right? You're not going to try and sell them straight away. You're going to offer them something free for clicking on the link to take them to your website. So in other words, you're going to give them something like, I don't know, perhaps you're going to do a free webinar like I'm doing now. Perhaps you're going to give them a free report that would be of value to them. Perhaps you're going to give them a free meeting or allow them to attend a free seminar, or you're going to do a free analysis of their business or their website, or perhaps you're going to give them a free session. Whatever it is, you're going to come up with some offer that enables people to take action to start communicating with you for free. Okay, so you spent £100. We're paying £1 per click. 10% of them opt into your free offer. Now, out of those 10 people, 20% of them, so in other words, 2 of the people who get your, let's say, I don't know, it's a free report, and they give their name and email address to you in order to get the free report, and 20% of those get a meeting with you. So you follow up and you pick up the phone and go, oh, hi, Steve Mills here. You downloaded my free report. I'm offering everybody a free one-to-one meeting. It lasts for an hour. In it, we're going to discuss this, this, and this. Would that be of interest to you? And 2 out of 10 people say yes. You've got a conversion rate from those meetings of 50%. So 1 out of 2 buys your £500 product, and that's the numbers. If 2 out of 10 do that, then that's great. That's £1,000. If 1 out of 10 does it, then that's £500. So whatever the numbers are there, we need to work on step 2, improving those numbers. So number 6, improve your conversion rate. I already spoke about this again. If you could improve your conversion rate, let's say you get 100 leads per month into your business. And because you get 100 leads, you know your numbers. You know that 45 of them turn into business. If you could improve that by 10%, 20%, 30%, then that's going to have a massive effect on your business. Now, one of the things I see people do is have a very, very poor sales system. Now, you may think, well, I've not really got a sales system, Steve. And, well, that's a good example of a poor one to start with. But the truth of the matter is you have got a sales system. A sales system is something like people inquire, be it through email or elsewhere, and you follow up by phone. And you call them and you hope to have a conversation, and then perhaps you send them a follow-up email. Perhaps then you send them a proposal, and perhaps you follow up once or twice on that proposal. My question for you is, could that be any better? Could you have a better system for conversion? And if your conversion is online, then, I hear people say to me things like, well, I'm on LinkedIn and I do, I'm posting and I'm doing this and that, and I connect to new people, and I say, well, do you phone those, excuse me, do you phone those new people? They go, well, no. I say, well, if you did, you might convert a lot more of them. You're just connected to somebody on LinkedIn and you don't actually communicate with them. Is that a problem? And if it is, then, or if you did communicate with them, if you did pick up the phone, could you improve your conversion rate? So we need to again look at the system, see if there's a way of improving either your sales skills or your sales system. And that again is just such a powerful way of growing your business. The 7th and final thing I wanted to talk to you about is investment. Invest in mentorship. Now you may be thinking, okay, well, he would say that because no doubt he's got a program to sell us. But do you know what? Go with somebody else. Hire somebody else, but hire somebody. Hire somebody who's got a background, a proven system, and who can help you. You feel confident that they can help you to grow your numbers, to grow your business. If it's me, and I hope it is, then get in touch. But invest in a mentor, learn from somebody who's actually done it, who's actually got results, not somebody who, we're not talking about, your cousin or your dad or your brother or whatever, or a friend down the road who's struggling away in the same way that you are. We're talking about somebody who's actually done it. So if you want to go to the Cayman Islands, you wouldn't charter a plane and get behind the controls with no training, no map, no co-pilot, and no one to guide you. So why the hell would you grow a business from, to the sorry, there's a typo there, I should say 6 or 7 figure level without a mentor and proven system? I spent, as I've said, $250,000. It's actually more than that. I've also wasted a phenomenal amount of money on dumb ideas. I've tried things over, 20 years now. I've tried stuff that's worked and stuff that hasn't. I made more mistakes, I think, than probably everybody listening to this webinar now. But I've learnt from those mistakes. I've made thousands of cold calls. I've rented an office I didn't need. I've undersold myself. I've left millions on the table. I've read over 400 books. I just cannot tell you how much effort I've put in to get me to where I am now. And, I've spent a lot of time, as it says at the end there, figuring this shit out. And I'm really, really good at what I do right now. So, if you want to help, let me tell you a little bit more. Believe me when I say there is a shortcut. It is with a mentor, with a proven system, and with somebody who's actually done it. Here's a couple of examples of companies I've worked with. Trevor Wilson from the FD group, used me for sales training within the FD group. Made a massive difference to his conversion rate. Alex Waddell, went from 3,000 a month to 70,000 a month in this great business. He saw an opportunity. Too much time was being taken with bookkeeping, and it's now outsourced, it's now online, and people can do it for a fraction. Alex can do it and his team for a fraction of the cost that it would cost you. From Michael Brook, I helped him to take, he was spending his time doing daily training programs, making it, shipping it, selling it, traveling up and down the country. And Michael now has got a great business helping other experts to turn their income, their time for money income, into ongoing income online so that they earn money while they sleep. And I know that's a real cliche, but Michael does that, and he's turning over a phenomenal amount of money, looking to grow, and really helping people to turn their expertise into online income. And you want to know from Michael, go and Google my expertise online. One client, probably my biggest success ever actually, was a guy who came on a LinkedIn workshop that I run. And 6 months later he called me and said, do you remember me? And I said, yeah. He said, well, I'm just calling to let you know that today, as a direct result of your training that I attended on LinkedIn, I got a lead on LinkedIn a little while later. We've nurtured it, we've grown it, we've been to several meetings and so on and so forth. And it's just turned in today to a £42 million order that I won on LinkedIn. And I said, I think I should be on commission, don't you? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, get the check in the post. And, what a great example of, return on investment from marketing, £42 million. So at this point, you got a couple of options. You've been with me now on this webinar for some time. I understand that, and I thank you for staying with me. What can you do? You can do two things. One, you can go it alone. You can spend tens of thousands or probably hundreds of thousands figuring it out, making the mistakes like I've done over 20 years, and know that 90% plus of startups fail in 5. But if you've got a load of money, you want to just throw money at things and see if it works, then that's great. And if you haven't got much money and you're not willing to invest in your business, you'll probably find that you're in pretty much the same business in 3 to 10 and 20 years if you manage to keep going. Option 2, which is the one obviously I think you should do, is to learn a proven system from somebody who's who's not just done it, but got a system for doing it and who's actually mastered it. And, if you're smart and you go with option 2 and you decide to work with me, here's what's, you're going to get. Okay. And honestly, go and find somebody else. If not me, if you think, that Steve is too pushy, he's a bit too direct, and you don't feel comfortable, go and work with somebody else. But find somebody that you can work with. If you do want to work with me, here's how it's going to work. So, rough time scale for my clients and their results. Within the first week, we'll have got the niche, we'll have defined that, and we'll have crafted a high ticket offer ready to go. Week 2, we'll have your funnel set up, we'll have critiqued it, and we'll have it live and ready to go. Week 3, we'll have your ads online. We'll be generating qualified calls coming right into your calendar and turning those into clients. Week 4, we'll have your sales conversion mastered and turned into repeatable process that not only repeats, but will keep that income coming in on an ongoing basis. And by the end of the first month, you should have made enough money, additional money, to have paid for the program. This is a 9-month program, by the way, in full. By the end of the first month, you'll have earned more money than the program will cost you. And you've still got 8 months to go. So this is going to work. This is a proven system. And that's just the first month. So if this sounds like, might be something you want to do, if you want to get over that 100 grand per year or per month, depending on where you are now, and you want to do that, over the next 5 days, I've set aside some time to talk to you, to see if I can help. We'll talk for roughly 45 minutes, and I'll map out an action plan for you to follow so that you can hit the 100K per month mark, or the 100K per year mark if you're a startup. And this call will probably be the best and most valuable 45 minutes you're going to spend working on your business this year. This is gold dust. Who's it for? As I've already said, startups, owners wanting to kickstart their business. They're not, they're perhaps thinking of starting or just made a start, been going for 6 months, want to get to 100K. Established businesses want to get over that hump, the £1 million hump. People who know that they're good at, you've got to be good at what you do. What I don't want you to do is spend money on marketing into a business that ain't good at what you do. You've got to be good at what you do. So that's who it's for. People who truly love helping others and value results above everything else, and people who are willing to take action. What I don't want you to do is to come along and sign up with me as a mentor, and then me have to spend the next 9 months being disappointed because you've not produce the results. I get results with people, and I only work with people who take action. So, if you're not that type of person, if you're not committed to investing time, money, and effort in your marketing, then this ain't for you. If you are interested, then, book a meeting. And if you want to do that, please do that as soon as you can. There are over 130 people on this webinar. You perhaps listen to a recording of the webinar right now. But either way, I've only got so many meetings that I can allow people to attend. I do roughly 2 or 3 per day. But if you're serious about growing your business, you need to take action. I want to be really clear here at this point as well. These meetings are not a sales pitch, okay? I'm not going to be pushing you into buying this. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to ask you some questions about your business. I'm going to help you, and I'm going to provide some really valuable advice to you. And then at the end of the 45 minutes, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you, do you want some more of this? Do you want to go ahead? And if you do, and you feel comfortable working with me, and I feel comfortable working with you, then we can talk further. But there'll be no hard sell during this meeting. So, what have you got to lose? The answer is 45 minutes of your time. What have you got to gain? Well, it's getting your startup to 100K and your established business to over $1 million. I hope you're going to take action. I hope you're going to book. You can see there where you go to book. You click on that link or go to stevemills.co/private-bookings. Go to my website, stevemills.co. You'll see it at the top. It's called a strategy meeting, by the way. And when you're there, you gain access to my diary. So you'll be able to see when I'm free. You'll be able to schedule a meeting in. And that meeting could be delivered 3 ways. It could be delivered in my office in Portsmouth, so you can come here and meet me. We could do it on Zoom, which is an online platform, enables you to see me and me to see you, albeit online. Or we can simply pick up the phone and do it the old-fashioned way by speaking on the phone. Either way is absolutely fine by me. And that's it. So thank you ever so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you when you've booked your Results Accelerator meeting with me. Thank you very much for listening.